What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Tech Bear here, and the day has come. Finally, I'm going to do the Horizon Zero Dawn review. To get a few things out of the way, I want to say right off the bat, this is going to be spoiler free. I'm not going to talk about any of the important events in the storyline. I'm simply going to talk about my experiences playing the game and my overall thoughts and whether or not I think it's worth your $60 and your time. So let's get into it, and let's start off talking about the graphics. The graphics in this game are very, very good. They're really top notch. I would argue that they're probably some of the best on the PS4 at this point. Lighting looks very accurate against the amazing backdrops. The world is wonderfully animated. Grass flows in the wind. You have, sun flare when the sun's shining down through the trees. You have a dynamic day and night cycle. You have a lot of different vegetation, and it's a diverse landscape as well. It's not just greens and purples. Eventually you get to sort of a more of a deserty type area, and that's brimming with yellows and browns and golds, and it uses a really, really nice color palette. I would say that the facial expressions and the facial animations are good. Some of them can look a little janky, especially some of the mouth animations, but the eyes are so well animated in this game. They're so well made. They look very, very realistic. I suppose that may be a little bit of a cliche to say something looks realistic. I mean, graphics are getting better all the time, but this game really does push it to the next level, especially for an open world game. If we we're going to switch over to gameplay now. If we take the gameplay, how can I describe this? It's kind of like a more complicated Far Cry. You play as a girl named Aloy, who is an outcast to a tribe, and that's about as much exposition as I'll give you in this review. Basically, as most open world games are, you've got your main story quest with which you can follow straight through to the end, which some people may prefer, but there's also a lot of different side quests that you can partake in along the way. There are vaults that you can find, that you can delve into, and you can learn more about the world and the people that inhabit and have previously inhabited it. So you've got some technologically advanced primitive weapons, if I can describe it that way. Your primary weapon is a bow, but you also get sort of like a trap launcher, tripwire thing. You have different elemental weapons at your disposal, or arrows, abilities, things like that. Eventually, you've got like a tech tree, so you can fill up all of your abilities. You can make Aloy stronger. It's not difficult to get all the abilities in the game, so don't feel like you need to pick a certain path and stick to that, because by the end of the, I would say about 30 or 40 hours, you'll have all of them, and you'll need them too. The enemies are awesome and very diverse. They range from a lot of different styles. They all have different weaknesses. You can stealth kill them. You can go toe to toe with them. Some of them you can ride them. And these are all robots at this point. It's my best way to describe them. It's sort of like biomechanical animals that exist in this world as if they were normal animals, but the robots. So there's boss fights. It's a hell of an experience. I'll tell you, this game is a lot of fun. Enemy encounters. Eventually, you do learn the weaknesses of the enemies, but it's never to a point where it's like, oh god, I don't want to fucking fight these anymore. Like it's all, the game keeps it very refreshing, and there's no area that's too populated. You're gonna run into a lot of different diverse enemies all across the map, which is huge, by the way. So as you're traversing the world, you do level up, obviously, because you need to fill out that skill tree that I mentioned earlier. You'll get different gear that you can buy from vendors, which will give you different defenses. You'll have different elemental resistances. You'll have, resistances to various forms of physical damage, things like that. So it's very, it's more like, I guess, like, Far Cry-y action RPG-y, which I think is a really good combination. And also, the writing, as far as the story goes, is also done really well. And they definitely kind of you know, I would be shocked, let's put it this way, if they didn't do a sequel. I would say that the character in Aloy is very likable. You tend to like her right from the beginning. You care about the things that happen. You care about the people in the world. The characters are written very well. She's going to be one of those characters sort of like up there with Nathan Drake, where when you think about PlayStation, when you think about Sony, you're going to think about her as a character, which is fantastic. It's wonderful, really. I guess moving along, we'll talk about the sound in the game. The soundtrack is fantastic, and it just fits the world really, really well. Things from the various roars of the creatures that you fight to the sounds of your arrows hitting their metal bodies. Everything sounds really, really good. It's a very satisfying sounding game. You hear the wind, you hear the birds, you hear everything. It's awesome. I do recommend playing with a headset. So that you can get, you know, especially a 7.1 surround system headset if you can. If not, you know, a 5.1 will work. Also, a stereo set of headphones will work too. But just to get, you know, the best sound experience you can out of the game. It does have a pro mode where you can set it in two settings. One of them supporting higher resolution, such as 4K and upscaling, and the second being it'll, you know, preference frames per second over resolution. To be honest, I don't see a huge difference between either mode, so I would say you can play with either or. If you do opt for the higher resolution, the game will look a little more crisp, so you know, definitely take that for what it's worth. At the end of the day, do I think this game is worth your $60? Yes, I absolutely do. This game is absolutely worth $60. I would say it would be worth an entry point of $400 for a PlayStation Pro and then $60 for the game, because this is one of those games that, in my opinion, should be required gaming. I think that people should play this because it's just good. It's an all-around great experience. I don't know if I'd put it higher than, say, The Last of Us, but it's definitely up there, in my opinion, and I think more people should play it. It's great seeing a strong female protagonist here, and I hope that this kind of a trend continues moving forward in the gaming industry. So that's going to do it for the review of Horizon Zero Dawn. Thank you for watching the video. If you like what you see, please hit the subscribe button. Hit that like button if you liked the video. If you didn't, if you hate this game, hit the dislike button. But please leave me some comments below. Let me know what you think. And if you need anything from me, you know where to find me. Right here on the Tech Bear channel.